Hi, everyone. I'm Professor Sackett-Taylor. You're watching this video because you've registered for a course with me in this upcoming semester. I wanted to tell you a little bit more about my teaching philosophy and the methods that I use in my classroom so you know what to expect. First, let's begin together by taking 3 collective breaths. I invite you to soften your gaze, or perhaps even close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Take a deep inhale through the nose and a long exhale. Breathe in and breathe out. One last deep inhale and exhale with an audible sigh. This semester, we'll be using some mindfulness practices in my classroom to help us manage stress and enhance our academic performance. These short exercises also help create a greater sense of classroom community and will help us to share and reflect on our values, both as individuals and as a collective. My classroom will follow the same kind of flow every time, even if the content changes. When we're together, this helps create consistency and will help us to build trust in one another as a community. We will always begin each class by settling in. I may guide you in a short breath awareness exercise or even some mindful movement, and we'll check in with one another about how we're feeling. Then we'll shift our focus to the lesson at hand. We'll do a short recap, and I'll give you lots of opportunities to openly ask questions. After that, we'll connect as a community through planned group activities or even classroom games. I will always give you an opportunity to express yourself creatively, whether that be through listening and talking or through writing. And finally, we will be intentional about closing our class every day by setting additional intentions, checking in with our accountability buddies, or perhaps expressing our gratitude to one another for what we've learned that day. I invite you, as you come into my classroom, to adopt a growth mindset. Our mindset informs our core assumptions about the world and can orient us towards a particular set of expectations and therefore affect our behaviors. A growth mindset is one in which we believe that we continue to learn and grow from every experience. That means that struggle or feeling a bit of discomfort may be the inevitable parts of this process. In my classroom, we'll accept failure as an opportunity rather than as a setback. For us, it's going to be about the journey, not the destination. What this means is that I will often try to put you or invite you into what I call your stretch zone. Your comfort zone is the zone where you don't take any risks, that you sit with only feelings that are very comfortable and familiar to you. But unfortunately, very learning happens in this zone. On the opposite end of the spectrum is the panic zone. This is when you've been pushed too far into a place where you feel overwhelmed or dysregulated. I don't want that because no learning happens there either. The happy place where I'd like to bring you when we're in class together is your stretch zone. Your stretch zone is where you begin to take risks. You are encouraged to be creative. You are trying new things. And this often means that there's some discomfort associated with it. It may feel challenging, but this is where the learning happens. So I encourage you right now to pause this video to reflect on the following questions. What aspects of this course or of college in general do you believe might be in your stretch zone? How could you stretch yourself to show up differently to our classroom community? And finally, how will you recognize when you're in your panic zone? What are the ways in which you respond? And how can you help yourself re-regulate and get back into that stretch zone. Another thing that students are always curious about is, how are you going to be graded? In my classroom, I use a labor-based grading agreement. In this course, we're going to shift the focus away from the end product or the performance to the process, what got you there. And all of this is going to be documented by you. My core belief is that each student comes into my classroom with different skills, abilities, talents, and prior knowledge. And so everyone, regardless of those experiences, if they put in the time and effort, they're going to improve. And so my labor-based grading will place the value on the amount of time and the amount of effort that you put into the classroom assignments. It de-emphasizes peer-to-peer comparison and centers the experience on people who may have traditionally been marginalized, including those with learning differences. It promotes independence and self-motivated improvement, and it will incentivize you to be creative and take risks. This is how I can represent my perspective. I did this drawing here to best represent what's happening in my mind. And so if you look at this vertical axis as measuring the scale of relative knowledge, where at the very bottom of the axis is no knowledge on a certain topic, and at the very top is expert level knowledge on the topic, then the traditional grading scale would attach grades according to this vertical axis of knowledge. That is, if you were to leave the class at the end of the semester with no knowledge, you may receive an F on a grading scale. And if you left with expert level knowledge, you may receive an A. However, this does not acknowledge the diverse life experiences that each student brings with them at the start of a semester, nor does it acknowledge the amount of time and effort that each student puts into their learning throughout the semester. For example, if I have two students represented here in red and in blue, and the red student begins the semester with very little knowledge of the topic, where the blue student begins the semester with some advanced knowledge of the topic already. And then you can see that the arrows, the arcs, represent the amount of time and effort that those students put into their learning throughout the semester, leading to their end point, the amount of knowledge that they leave the course with. Well, my question to you here is, which of these students worked harder? Which student learned more? Which student deserves a better grade? In my opinion, student one, although they end at a lower level of knowledge than student two, worked really hard in this semester and has shown that they put the time and effort in to improve on the skills, abilities, and tools that they came in with. And this person deserves a good grade in this class. So according to our labor-based grading agreement, these are the things that I am asking you to agree to by being part of my classroom community. In terms of attendance, you agree to attend class regularly, arriving early or on time. And you agree to document any absences that you have and take responsibility for the content that you miss. Deadlines. You agree to meet all of the scheduled deadlines as well as the criteria for the major assignments, unless you've made an alternative arrangement with me in advance. You also agree to turn in all assignments in the format that I request, and they reflect academic honesty. In terms of effort, you agree to log all of the time that you spend on both required and optional assignments accurately and honestly. And you agree to sustain your best effort and investment in the activities that you choose to participate in. Overall, I hope what I have expressed to you here today is that my classroom is going to be what I call a brave space. I was inspired by this short poem by Mickey Scott B. Jones. It says, "Together we create a brave space because there is no such thing as a safe space. We exist in the real world. We all carry scars and we have all caused wounds. In this space, we seek to turn down the volume of the outside world. We amplify voices that fight to be heard elsewhere. We call each other to more truth and love. We have the right to start somewhere and continue to grow. We have the responsibility to examine what it is we think we know. We will not be perfect. The space will not be perfect. It will not always be what we wish it to be, but it will be our brave space together, and we will work on it side by side. So I'm asking you to show up, pay attention, tell the truth, and be open to the outcomes that unfold. So for me, I always focus on setting intentions instead of goals. Goals are what you want to do. It's about the destination, whereas an intention is about how you want to be. How do you show up? Intentions are about the journey. So for me, my classroom intentions are to create a space that is student-centered and driven by your strengths, not your weaknesses. I'll be focused on opportunities for growth and learning in a collaborative setting where we work together to solve problems. I will honor all of your diverse lived experiences, and I promise to address systemic and institutional injustices when they come up. So I invite you now to pause this video and think about your own intentions. How do you want to show up in our classroom community this semester? What are your intentions for the semester? Maybe you should write them down. I want to end by expressing my gratitude to you, the student. Without you, I wouldn't get to do what I love to do. Thank you for watching this video and for taking the time to reflect on the prompts that I've given you. I really look forward to meeting you and working together this semester. See you soon.